Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
What? Do what?
Let the dogs out. You know, like, who let the dogs out? Who
let the dogs out?
Dude, I almost had you. You never had.
Who let the dogs out?
The pleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Did somebody slip up and write stupid on my forehead?
Explain why you were doing 61 in a 25 zone.
I was drag racing. I'm a drag racer.
You were drag racing in a Prius.
I don't win a lot.
I want you to go back out on that track and hit the pace car. Hit the pace car? Hit the pace car! What for? Because you hit every other damn thing out there. I want you to be perfect.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
You jumped up on that.
It did, didn't it? Oh, righty.
Ask any racer, any real racer.
And welcome to Racing Nation. Matt Nix, Sean Sullivan, and Chris DeHardy sitting here, St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh, man, it's so great to be out here. IndyCar Series has made their way into town, and it is a great day.
Matt, this is just seriously out of the world. The Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, the Porsches, the Audis, the Acuras are just blasting by us right now.
Wait a minute, they don't race in IndyCar. What are you talking about, Sean?
Well, that's Chris DeHardy. For the folks that don't know, we're having Chris on this morning with us. He's a writer for Tribute.com, and we'll let him tell a little about
TributeRacing.com.
And also Popular Open Wheel, thank you.
Oh, yeah, new site going up from, I guess they're a sublet of PopularSpeed.com, so PopularOpenWheel.com. Go ahead and check those guys out, too. Chris posting up a bunch of stories. Got a whole lot of Indy Lights, Mazda Road to Indy series out there. You're covering that pretty solid this year.
It's a lot of fun to do. It's great to see all the new drivers coming up and rising through the ranks. But for those of you hearing the engine sounds in the background, Pearler World Challenge is actually having their first race of the weekend for the GT, GTA, and GT Cup cars. A lot of fun seeing all the different makes and models out here. But yeah, Road to Indy and IndyCar is definitely what I love covering. It's great seeing, like I said, all the new talent rising up to the top, and it's great to see drivers that you covered, in USF and Pro Mazda get up there and get an IndyCar one day.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it really is. It's neat to see all these guys really just getting out there and going. I'm just happy the season started. Next week we've got Formula One in Australia, so I can't wait.
It's a good couple of weeks of racing for Open Wheel, especially now that Popular Open Wheel is launched. Having IndyCar first weekend and then F1 the next weekend, it's a lot of good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Hey, we're getting back into the season. The beginning of the year is slowly coming to an end. We're hitting the mid part of the year, which we'll call spring in Florida. It's just 100-degree weather, but yeah, it's going to be almost 93 this weekend. So if you're down here in St. Pete, hydrate. That's all I can tell you. Fortunately, we're up a little bit, and we have we're in a kind of like air conditioning. I won't give it all away, but we're comfortable, and we're going to have some really cool guests on, we're hoping.
Figures, you said it's going to be 93 degrees, and I brought a jacket with me into the media center because I figured it would be cold in there.
Well, and I'm going to go ahead and give it away. The city of St. Petersburg has blessed us once again this year and allowed us to broadcast from their suite area that they have right here in the second floor of the McAfee Theater.
Yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. We have a great view, and I want to give a shout out to the city of St. Pete. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Scott, it was very nice to meet you, coming over and saying hello to us. So we're hoping to have the mayor on in a little while. If he shows up, we'll get him on and let him give you his brief on everything that's going on here. So Chris, what do you think? Be our color guide today and tell us what you think is going to happen.
Well, we've already had one race in the books today, the USF 2000 race. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We still have the Pro Mazda and Indy Lights first races of the day coming up, of the weekend, really. Later on today, we also have the second USF 2000 race, and they're going to pack up and head home after that. Oh, sorry about that. And then after that, we still have IndyCar qualifying to get done in the final practice for them. I think we're going to see a lot of interesting times being set across all the different series.
So we're going to see Indy qualifying in a pretty late part of the day, right? Pretty much closing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see on that. Fortunately, we're going to have Indy Lights and USF and
Pro Mazda, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to trucks, Chris. Big time.
I tell you what, Super Trucks is definitely something that has definitely gotten Matt's attention, especially if you see him on Twitter.
He's a nut. He loves those things.
I tell you, he would give up almost anything to drive one of those. He probably sell his house to drive one, maybe 50 feet.
I would definitely think about giving him my left arm.
Yeah, I know he's a real fan of it. Last year he was fortunate enough to go to Las Vegas and actually drive a trophy truck. So kudos to Matt for that. And who were the guys out there, Matt? I don't remember their names.
That's Vor Off-Road.
Vor Off-Road. If you go out there, man, I tell you what, it's a life.
The experience that you can get. Just go. Go to Vor VORE.com. It's a Vegas off-road experience, is what it stands for. Amazing.
First class. They pick you up at the hotel or you're at the airport. They'll do it for you. And let me tell you, they run you out to the track. They open up. They put you in a Ford Raptor, and the first thing the guy does is jump it. While you're in it, he tells everybody, buckle up and let's go. That's incredible to me. So,
imagine if Uber did that.
That would, you know what? That might make the experience a whole lot better for Uber.
Yeah, it would. Say Uber needs to do something, man. I'm not.
Speaking of Uber, let's backtrack just a second. And there's also another one called Lyft.
I've never been to Lyft.
Do you even?
See, now this. Yeah, ha ha ha. This is something. There's a video online where Danica Patrick is a Lyft driver.
No way.
And she picks people up and takes them on their, commute. And as she's driving, abiding by the, posted traffic laws, and she's driving and talking to them. And then, of course, it's kind of like the Jeff Gordon video, the Pepsi video, a little bit, but it's for Lyft. And, of course, she starts talking to him, and she's like, hey, you know what? You need to watch NASCAR by any chance? And most of the people she picks up have no clue who she is.
No clue who she is.
No clue whatsoever. And they're like...
Now, whose fault is that? Is that hers? Is that NASCAR's? Or
I think it was demographically odd where they did this.
Like, Utah or something, right? Probably.
No, it was in a city somewhere.
I'm looking it up right now. Danica likes to go undercover as a Lyft driver. That's Danica. I could see that. I bet it's pretty not hard not to tell it's Danica. She's like 4'3", she's little, she's cute, and she has dark hair. I don't know. But, hey, that's Danica. Good for Danica, a Lyft driver. I like that. What is Lyft, a new thing, Matt? I've never heard of them before.
It's pretty much the same thing as Uber. It's, I don't know. I don't even know what you would call it.
Yeah, and let's just call it Uber. The funny part, okay, I'll let me correct that. Danica on the NASCAR website says she's 5'2", 100 pounds. I'm going to go with more like 4'11", 95 pounds. She's tiny, but she can do one heck of a pose for yoga, let me tell you.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I think I might have some audio of that little undercover operation that she did here. Let's see if
And I'm Danica Patrick, and I'm going to be your Lyft driver for the day.
Hey there.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. Wow, you look great. Oh, thank you. What do you?
So she just kind of goes right into the groove of things. We were actually talking about this, myself and Josh Chin, this morning on the way in, and how could you not know? But if you look at where she's picking these people up, it's Suburbaville, America, and these are people that have no recollection of NASCAR, pretty much.
And she's also wearing a scarf thing on her head and has a big pair of sunglasses on.
Sales.
I know, right? Pretty much.
Buckle up for safety.
Right?
You might.
Hey, there you go. Danica said it. Buckle up for safety.
She sure needs to.
My boyfriend thinks I'm a horrible driver.
You are.
Oh, my goodness. Her boyfriend thinks she's a horrible driver. Well, that's that.
That's enough, Danica. But anyway, that's too funny. It'd be cool to have a ride with Danica. I'd have a nice talk with her. I'd ask her a lot of things about NASCAR. That's for sure. Why she hasn't won anything, why she hasn't qualified well,
Aww.
Why she hasn't done anything since she's been in the car. But hey, who am I?
What is this, a car ride or a roast? Come on.
It's a Danica beat-up day, but I've taken her before for my win, so I've lost. But anyway, I'll leave you alone, Danica. I still love you. You're still you're a driver. You did win something in Japan. You faked an IndyCar win in the middle of the night when the car broke or thought the race was over, but whatever. Whatever, we'll leave you alone, Danica. Anyway, back to St. Petersburg. We're here, and we're getting ready to watch some good racing. Chris, what's coming up next? Fill us up.
Okay, so I think after this we have, unfortunately I don't have the schedule right in front of me here.
Come on, Chris.
We do have the Pro Mazda race coming up, I think, after this Pearl World Challenge GT race is over.
Yep.
After, in fact, I think I might have the schedule coming up here in just a moment here.
East, west, and well, they'll be coming up. And what's really nice about this, if you're down here, they are really quick. They get the next set of cars on the street. I mean, pretty quick.
They have only a 10-minute break between sessions. It's really good just to get everything situated really quickly. Just let the previous guys get off track, the new guys getting in the pit lane. It's really, really quick how to get things done here. I like it.
Until somebody dumps a bunch of goo all over the surface, and then they got to bring out the track cleaper and everything else. So
that's never good.
Did he just use goo and creeper in the same sentence?
What is this, Minecraft?
Well, you know what I'm doing is I'm quoting somebody I heard the other day on Speed 51. That's exact words out of his mouth. I was watching a late race, and he goes, "Oh, the goo just hit the track," and I was like, "Really?" So I just went with it.
Well, it wasn't goo that hit the track yesterday
Oil.
that slowed everything down. It was fragments and pieces of Will Power's car as he exited turn 9. And we've gone over the video, myself, Chris DeHardy, and a lot of others in the media center over and over and over, trying to dissect what happened. And after doing a little bit of investigation after I left the track yesterday, I found out that Will says that he just hit a bump and lost control of the car, ended up hitting the wall coming out of turn 9 and slid all the way through turn 10.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, man, but I wasn't in the car, hitting a bump, being an IndyCar driver with all the experience he has. I don't know, man. It's tough to digest. What do you think, Chris?
I honestly find it odd that he would have tried to make an adjustment, getting ready to get into a corner. To me, that's just the wrong thing to do. It's not. It's just something.
There's not a lot of straightaway here.
No, that's a front straightaway. There's like the straightaway after turn number 3. Why not do it at the very end of the turn previous to the one that he was getting ready to go into? I just don't understand it. I can't figure it out.
Oh, I don't know. I've watched the video. You know, you watched me do it. I must have watched the replay 150 times, and how it happened, where it happened, and how fast it happened. And I know things happen fast with these cars. I know things happen within a blink of an eye. But he just lost the wheel, completely lost the steering wheel, like it snatched out of his hand and went back to center.
Yeah. You know what, man? It just shows you that even the professional drivers that rock it don't always get it right.
You look at Jerry Hildebrand. Back in 2012, he ran over the back of Will Power's car underneath the caution. That wasn't necessarily a shiny moment in his career.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll kind of get things going a little bit more here. We'll be back in just a minute.
When the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days. When the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
At Victory Junction, it's simple. We believe every child, no matter their diagnosis or disability, deserves the chance to just be a kid. So we provide a medically safe environment where children who live in a world of hospital stays and doctor's visits are free to do everything from riding horses, ziplining, swimming, fishing, and bowling, all at no cost to the camper. The experience inspires confidence, builds self-esteem, and changes the life of every child who comes here. Help us change a child's life at victoryjunction.org.
Are you ready?
To help children forget about their serious medical conditions so they can just be a kid. Then support Victory Junction, which is the dream of late race driver Adam Petty, who wanted to build a camp where children concentrate on fun and laughter, not illness or disability. At Victory Junction, kids enjoy ziplining, horseback riding, swimming, fishing, all in a medically safe environment, all at no cost to the camper. What do you say, Richard Petty?
Let's do this.
Learn more at victoryjunction.org. Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Victory Junction is where I can forget about being sick for a while.
Victory Junction is where I have friends just like me.
Victory Junction is where I discover all I can be.
Victory Junction, a camp where chronically ill children discover all they can do, all at no cost to their families. To learn more, visit us at victoryjunction.org and feel your heart race.
With no further ado, I'm going to bump this off a little bit off to my buddy Crystal Hardy and let him recap the USF 2000 race.
Well, for those of you who don't know, USF 2000 is the first step on the ladder series in the road to Indy. There's USF 2000 Pro Mazda and Indy Lights, of course, but USF 2000 is a starting point for a lot of drivers trying to make their way into IndyCar. Now, there was a first corner incident. The driver that actually started in trying to find the thing right up here. The driver that started in second place, actually, Parker Thompson, driving for Cape Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing, was actually hit by James Monroe from Team Pelfrey at the very first corner. Unfortunately, that didn't start the day off too well for Team Pelfrey. It was one of their 4 cars that was already involved in an incident. Monroe ended up finishing 18th. Thompson was 15th at the end. And then they had the restart just after that. They had about 5 or 6 minutes for yellow. And then Garth Rickards for Pabst Racing had an incident with Jordan Kane on the restart there. Kane driving for Team Pelfrey as well. He had an issue with that restart too. So 2 of Pelfrey's guys had incidents.
So what's happening, Chris? Everybody trying to win this on the first lap, or
it
what?
Looks like it. And now one thing I forgot to mention, of course, was that there were actually 2 incidents at the first corner. The other one being, it looks like it was Max Hanratty and Jordan Kane got into it also there at the first corner. Kane, of course, also driving for Team Pelfrey, so it's 3 of Pelfrey's guys not doing so well. The one Pelfrey driver that maintained his composure looked like it was Robert McGinnis, who started in 9th. He got to 4th place by the end of the first corner and got to 3rd by the end of the first lap and ended up staying in 3rd for the whole race.
Yeah,
that was his first race in USF 2000. Did a pretty good job there. Second place in the race was Yufeng Luo, who drove last year for Pabst Racing, and first place was Jordan Lloyd. Now, Jordan Lloyd is a very interesting story. He's from Australia. He drove the first 4 races of the USF 2000 Championship last year for John Comiskey Racing. Didn't have the money to continue on after that, so he went back to Australia, drove in Australian Formula 4. That's, actually F4, I should probably say now. He won the Australian F4 Championship. He took the sponsorship money from that, or the scholarship money, I should say, and brought it back to the United States and signed with Pabst Racing. It was fantastic to see him start on pole and actually ended up leading every lap and winning. Now, of course, there were a lot of yellow flag laps there. Can't really help that too much, but he did do the job at the end of the day. At the end of the day, he crossed the start-finish line first. And to come from, a partial season last year to come back, after going back to Australia and then, winning first time out this year, great job by Jordan Lloyd.
I give him a lot of credit. Anytime you're able to do something like that and pull a caliber like that, hey, kudos to the kid. He came over. He has a dream. He spent a lot of money getting here. He basically probably spent every penny he had to get here, and he rocked it. He won the race.
And even then, he only has a half season of funding right now, but of course winning, it tends to make people want to get behind you and sponsor you. Now, I do want to also bring up one more thing. Cape Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing has won the last 5 USF 2000 championships. Their top driver in this race was Anthony Martin, who was in 5th place. And wouldn't you know it, in the 4 races that Jordan Lloyd did last year, who was his teammate? Anthony Martin.
Imagine that.
It's a small world.
We are pretty close with Wayne Taylor Racing, know those guys really well. I'll tell you what, we always pull for Jordan, whatever he's racing, and they are racing next week in Sebring. Fortunately, we'll be part of that as well. This is a big swing for Racing Nation. We really spend a lot of time this part of the year, in the beginning of the year. It's becoming a 12-month-a-year thing for us. We're fortunate enough to go to a lot of races. So next week we'll see the Taylor brothers over there, and we hope Ricky and Jordan do something well.
Yeah, it's always good to see them do well. In fact, they're actually going to be driving at Le Mans this year in Corvette C7Rs. Although the funny thing is that Jordan's driving in one of the Corvettes while Ricky's driving in the other one. So
yeah, that they did not get an original invite to Le Mans. So this is, I know that something was released recently about that, but they were not invited this year.
Well, I think it wasn't that. It was just that the Corvette Racing itself wasn't invited, or
the Jordan brothers were not. Their Wayne Taylor Racing was not invited.
Well, no, they were their factory Chevrolet drivers anyway. So I think it was also a PR move to have Ricky and Jordan driving for them. I'll tell you what, though, it's going to be interesting to see if the Corvettes can repeat their success from this past year, because this past year at Le Mans, they did have a lot of struggles with, one of the cars crashing in practice, and then it was Briscoe's car that crashed. I think it was Jan Magnussen driving at the time. Yeah. It was in the Porsche Curves, but, to have, two cars, now you're down to one, and then that one car ends up winning the whole thing, really shows through Corvette Racing's ability to just get past it all.
Yeah, it sure does. Isn't this great? In the background, you're hearing right now. We're hearing the Pirelli World Challenge Series just zip and rip by us, and the engines are just tearing down this. It's not a backstretch, but it's more like a. It's kind of a
dog leg.
A dog leg, an S turn. It's pretty cool. And they get up to pretty good speed here, so we're just watching them. You hear it in the background, listeners. If you want to reach out to me right now and tweet me something, I'm live, and I'll tweet you back at through THROU, the THESSESSES, and I'll tweet you back. So this is my favorite time of year, guys. Chris, what do we have coming up? I know we have another race starting shortly, so give us a little lineup.
No problem. First, just to let you know, let everybody know our broadcast position as where the racetrack is. If you have your track map in front of you, I think turn 10 is the sharp left-hander that leads onto Dan Weldon Way, where Elio Castroneves jumped the fence in 2012 to celebrate his win here. That's where we're broadcast about 2/3 of the way down towards there from turn number 9, which is at Kink, where Power lost it. Now, what we have going on next here, the Pro Mazda race will be starting at 10:50 local time in St. Petersburg. That can be followed through ProMazda.com on the live timing page. You can also follow it with the Road to Indy app on iOS and also on Android as well. And you can also follow it through the live stream that IndyCar is doing for today's on-track action as well. After that, we have a 15-minute break followed by the last IndyCar practice. And then after a break after that, there's the Indy Lights race at looks like 12:55. Sorry, the font is really small here.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. You're getting it. We're just what the idea is to try to get the listeners to know kind of what we're doing and what's going on here. And if they're listening and they're close in St. Pete, come on down. I mean, it's an inexpensive outing for you. I think you can get in for $25 or something. So it's a great opportunity to enjoy what's going on in St. Pete.
Yeah, that's what's going on here in St. Pete now. A little bit away from here in Phoenix, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and the Xfinity Series have moved on into town. The Xfinity race will take place a little later this afternoon, and a good buddy of ours, Ray Black Jr., has actually qualified probably one of his better races so far this season.
I didn't check. So what is it, man?
I believe he's 18th.
That's great.
That is great for that team. So to see that team moving on up in the standings there is awesome. Now the Sprint Cup Series qualifying took place yesterday. And during practice, a lot of teams had some issues, and even during qualifying, some teams had some issues. We've seen Jimmy Johnson hit the wall, and just yet again, Kyle Busch has won a pole. This has been Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch winning poles, alternating, even though they both won the pole in Atlanta.
Hey, the birth.
How did that? Oh, that's right, because Kyle was disallowed because of an infraction in post qualifying testing or inspection.
Yeah, inspection. But the Busch brothers run well in the desert, man. I mean, that's where they're from. That's their home tracks, and those guys just rip it up in their home tracks. Out west, they seem to run well. Same thing with Jimmy Johnson. That's where he's from. I'm kind of surprised he put it in the wall because he's usually really, really sound at Phoenix.
Well, who's really, really sound at Phoenix is Kevin Harvick, and shockingly, an 18th place qualifying effort for Kevin Harvick. He'll be starting right beside Chase Elliott.
Speaking of Kevin Harvick, I did find it very interesting that there was a question asked, would he leave Stewart-Haas Racing after they switched to Ford? He said he had no intentions of leaving. So next year, we'll see Kevin Harvick driving a Ford for the first time in Sprint Cup. That's going to be an interesting sight to see, in my opinion.
First time in Sprint Cup. Yes, you're 100% correct.
I'll
Yeah, I had to think back there.
That's a shock for the Hardy to get that because he's really, quote unquote, not a NASCAR guy.
I pay attention from time to time, but let's face it, Harvick driving a Ford, Earnhardt drove a Ford for 1 year when he was driving for Bud Moore, or 2 years when he was driving for Bud Moore, but it's just not something you see every day. It's like, Richard Petty, when Petty drove a Ford back in '69, Plymouth said we're not going to give you an aerodynamic nose and wing, so he went off to Ford.
Hey.
Yet again, for the third week in a row, 39 cars will be starting in the Sprint Cup series. Now, and this I believe this is all has to do with the Charter Series, but notably some top-notch teams that did not qualify very well. The most popular driver in the Sprint Cup series for the 12th year, 13th year running, excuse me, Dale Earnhardt Jr. qualified 26th. And now
wow.
I'm not really sure what's going on there. Ty Dillon as well, 27th. Yeah, it's just
Hendricks.
Hendricks down. I don't understand.
Well, they're dominating. They dominate a lot of years, Matt, and this might just be a down year. But hey, we're 5 races in now, so I'm not going to say that yet. But we'll see. Dale better start doing good because he is NASCAR's most popular driver, my personal favorite driver. So let's hope good things for my buddy Dale. Chris, are you actively now? Are you going to be writing a little bit for on NASCAR now?
It depends on what takes place. It's very, very difficult to say, whether you will or whether you won't do something like that. It just depends on, what happens really. There might be something that takes my eye, like if the Dogecoin movement from Reddit actually gets back going again. I mean, I'm a huge, tech nerd, so that's one of the things that I find absolutely riveting. So the fact that Josh Wise got sponsored by Dogecoin and got help from Reddit.com to run at Talladega and also run at Taladoja.
Yeah, Taladoja.
And also at the All-Star race was magnificent. I tell you what, it was great to see a brand new group of fans interact with a series like this, and it just shows the power of what not only social media but other new bases can do for a sport like this.
Yeah.
Because you had a lot of people that were in that Reddit thread on which is really, really an interesting place to be. Say, we've never watched NASCAR before. We've never even liked really this kind of sport before, but
sure,
they find it interesting.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I like that.
No, they do. They sure do. And I'll tell you what, we're just going to step out just take a brief break, but when we come back, I've got some Firestone engineers for you. So listen, just give us a minute. Listen to what we got on our ads. We'll come back with something special. Race Nation, we'll be right back.
If that boy ain't giving up, lick your lips and swing your hips, girl. All you gotta say is, my name is no, my sign is no.
At Victory Junction, it's simple. We believe every child, no matter their diagnosis or disability, deserves the chance to just be a kid. So we provide a medically safe environment where children who live in a world of hospital stays and doctor's visits are free to do everything from riding horses, ziplining, swimming, fishing, and bowling, all at no cost to the camper. The experience inspires confidence, builds self-esteem, and changes the life of every child who comes here. Help us change a child's life at victoryjunction.org.
Victory Junction is where I can forget about being sick for a while. Victory Junction is where I have friends just like me. Victory Junction is where I discover all I can be.
Victory Junction, a camp where chronically ill children discover all they can do, all at no cost to their families. To learn more, visit us at victoryjunction.org and feel your heart race.
Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Are you ready?
To help children forget about their serious medical conditions so they can just be a kid. Then support Victory Junction, which is the dream of late race driver Adam Petty, who wanted to build a camp where children concentrate on fun and laughter, not illness or disabilities. At Victory Junction, kids enjoy ziplining, horseback riding, swimming, fishing, all in a medically safe environment, all at no cost to the camper. What do you say, Richard Petty?
Let's do this.
Learn more at victoryjunction.org.
Slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house. Play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go.
I have a special guest with us right now. I have an actual real Firestone engineer. This is one of the guys that is the geek that builds the tires. This is the man that actually comes up with the compounds, okay? So this guy gets the goo all over his hands, the tire stuff. So this is the real engineer. And I don't like to call engineers geeks or anything. He doesn't look like a geek, but he's probably really smart and really has his stuff together. So welcome to Racing Nation. Thank you, Firestone, for giving us this opportunity first. And second, I'm going to get right into it. I want to know the compounds and I want to understand them better. And I have this question all the time from the listeners. So introduce yourself.
I'm Dale Harrigal, Chief Engineer for Bridgestone Americas Motorsports and Manager of Race Tire Development. And you can call me a geek. It doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with it.
You know, we always like to bring people in on a lighter way, in a nicer way. And calling the engineer, it's a geek. So, listen, this guy is the chief engineer. I mean, we're not the bottom dweller here. This is 20 years experience here. So, tell us about the different tires that you brought here, your company, Firestone, for the races. Indy Light first, if you would, and then we'll go right into the Indy cars.
Well, unfortunately, we're not involved in Indy Lights anymore.
Okay.
We just dedicated 100% to the IndyCar series.
So let's go right into the IndyCar series then.
We have 3 compounds for the IndyCar series. We have a primary compound, which is kind of our workhorse tire. That's the tire that we're going to see used all weekend. We have an alternate tire, which has the bright red sidewall, so the fans can distinguish the alternate tire. And that one has a bit more grip, but it wears out a bit quicker. So it really becomes a strategy for when the IndyCar Series drivers and teams want to use that tire throughout the race. And then, of course, we have the rain tire. We hope we don't need it, but it's here if we need it.
Well, with the weather coming up tomorrow, I'm hoping you don't need it, but there's an overwhelming good chance you're possibly going to need it. So how many sets of tires do they get for the rain tires?
Each team can use up to 5 sets of rain tires. They carry 1 set with them, and we supply 4 at the track.
Okay, so you have to have that number extras for all of the Indy cars. So an extra, there's 20 drivers, so an extra 100 sets, give or take.
That's right, yes. We'll bring about 800 tires all told for this weekend.
Okay, so after a race is over, what happens to the tires then?
A small number of tires come back to Akron, which we analyze and make sure the performance was what we expected. But most of the tires get returned to Firestone and ultimately get burned for fuel in a recycle energy plant in Indianapolis, Indiana, where they're used to make steam and electric to heat the city of Indianapolis.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So ultimately, you're basically returning it back to the environment safely.
That's right. We like to say that all of our technology is in every tire. So we get all the tires back to protect our technology, and then we found the most environmentally friendly way to dispose of the tires.
That's pretty cool. Go ahead, Chris.
Talking about burning rubber, first thing is, what do you take out of your race tires that helps you make better street tires?
The fundamental technology is really where we learn to take racing and apply it to the street. It's the polymers, it's the components that go in the tire. The same problems we're faced with here at the racetrack is some of the things that a semi-trailer running down a Florida highway on a 95-degree day are applicable to that. So it's the fundamental technology that we take from racing to passenger tires, truck tires, that type of thing.
How have the compounds for these tires changed over the last 2 or 3 years with all that you've learned?
You know, when the aero kits were introduced, we kept the compounds pretty similar. So the aero kit manufacturers had a straightforward target to meet. They knew what the tire was going to be. They could design their kit to the tire. Now that we've had the aero kits, this is the second year of the aero kits, we're starting to make some changes on the road courses to try to better optimize the tire to the cars.
Now, this is a very interesting question. Now, last year I wrote a piece about having more tire wars in motorsports and how we see that so little nowadays. How do you think a tire war would affect competition in IndyCar, especially given how long you've been the sole provider for the IndyCar series?
You know, I have to answer that from two perspectives. As an engineer, I'd absolutely love to be in competition. We always want to make the best product we can, and we'd love to be in competition. From a business perspective, single make makes a lot of sense. A single tire makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why we see it across motorsports paddocks, across the industry.
Yeah, that makes sense to me from the business side of it, because bottom line is you hear a lot of these team owners every year say the same thing. We're trying to keep the cost down. We're trying to keep the cost down. And let's face it, you're really not keeping the cost down. So it's tough. It really is. So today, when I'm leaving out of here, what would be the most comparable tire that is on the track to what I'm going to drive out of here?
You know, our tires here are very specifically suited to the IndyCar series. So a lot of our technology transfers to the Firestone products, to the Bridgestone products, but there really is no single street tire. There's a Firestone Firehawk Indy 500 tire, which is going to be introduced this year, which has a lot of our technology in it. But, you know, we are very much dedicated to the racing series and very specialized with the IndyCar series.
Yeah, that's a very fair answer. The Firehawk that's coming out, what kind of a car is that going to go on? A performance-based, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yes. The new Indy 500 Firehawk is a performance-based tire, yes.
So are you with a specific manufacturer already that it's going to come out new with the 2016 model?
No, it's what we call a replacement tire. So it'll be in the Firestone stores, in the retail channels for not an OE application, but a replacement application.
Sure, and I always look at it as any tire, Firestone, Continental, Bridgestone, whatever, is a replacement, in my opinion, is an OE tire. I mean, that's the bottom line. If it's a new tire, it's essentially OE stuff.
We put a lot of specific engineering into our OE product, so they are a little bit different. You know, replacement tires we get to design thoroughly. An OE tire, the original equipment, whether it be Chevrolet or Ford or whatever, they specify what they want. So they are a little bit different.
Okay, so if I buy, let's say, I'll just take a new Chevy Camaro, okay? I wear the first set of tires out. We'll call them Continentals, okay?
You wear a set of tires out? Hold on. Let's think about that real fast. This was probably going to happen in about 24 hours.
Yeah, I get on it a little bit. If it's a rent-a-car, whoo, watch out.
Hey, he is the definition of drive it like it's rented, park it like it's stolen, or is that vice versa? Drive it like it's stolen, park it like it's rented.
I'm not going to say much, but I'll just say a couple years ago we did bring it back with a tank of gas, and it was totaled. And that's the God's honest truth.
Let me take a wild guess. When you went to go get the car, you said, "Yeah, give me the extra insurance because you're going to get more airtime with this car than a skateboard at the X Games," right?
I'm going to stop right there because the statute of limitations is not up. It's not up yet, and I'm not lying to you.
I have a quick question before we get through all of what Sean was trying to get there on that. Firestone sponsoring the series, what does that do for a company? What is the biggest benefit of a company to come into a series like this and to gain a sponsorship?
For Firestone, we've been with the IndyCar series and involved in IndyCar since 1911. Harvey Firestone, his whole vision when he got into this, he was really one of the first sports marketers, was to use, at the time, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and racing as the ultimate proof point and technology development for his tires. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday. He understood that from the very beginning. And that's something that's really in our DNA. So it's something that we have carried through for the better part of the last century in all forms of motorsports. The most strategically built on equity and what we do and our experts in has been IndyCar.
Wow. I love that saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. Love it. That's great. I'll tell you what, that's really neat, and the company is trying to maintain that philosophy then. So, and the relationship sounds like it's still really there with IndyCar.
Absolutely. We are very proud to be part of the IndyCar series. It is a way for us to really showcase our technology and our performance, our innovation We are a company about innovation. And when you really think about what an Indy car needs to do on these diverse tracks, there's no better platform for us to showcase what our engineering capabilities are and what kind of tires we can put on the road, both if we can do it here and on passenger cars. So it is really an ultimate proof point from us in terms of our products, and a great way to engage the fans and consumers and tell them our story in a very unique way.
So this is kind of a way for a manufacturer, a tire manufacturer, to kind of go up there and show out a little bit and say, look what we can do, and we can do it better than you.
Yeah. Well,
yes, absolutely.
And that's why you have your chief engineer here at the track. In the likely event that something does occur, they're going to digress it. They're going to tear it apart, dissect it, and try to understand it. Not here necessarily, but it's going to be done.
Absolutely. We don't go anywhere without the chief engineer. Let me just be clear right now, Dallas, so you know. Listen, Dale and his team, they make the best race tires in the world, bar none.
Yeah, that's a very stout statement, considering what you're saying in the world. I mean, you're talking Formula One, or IndyCar, of course, NASCAR. I mean, that's a very prolific statement to say. So that's great. Everything about the manufacturing is controlled by you then.
That's correct. We
standard.
We manufacture the race tires in Akron, Ohio, in our advanced technology workshop, and we work very hard to make sure we put the best possible tire we can on the racetrack. And my team is very much integrated with the manufacturing team, so we can watch a product from conception through the manufacturing process to its use on the racetrack. So we very tightly control all of that.
So you, on a weekly basis, probably visit the manufacturing facility a couple times a week.
That's right. It's less than a mile from our offices, so we're there pretty frequently.
That's good. That's good to know, because you're looking for an exact standard that you've built. You want exact specifications, and you're going to get it. I want to first thank you guys very much, the Firestone crew, for coming out and explaining to us what's going on. This is Sean. We'll be back soon. We'll have another surprise. Yeah, stay with us.
But now we're stressed out. We're stressed out. Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify where it's coming from? I'd make a candle out of it if I ever found it.